So we're going to talk about another way to distort your images, which is very, very useful when you're doing projects that you need something to have a little bit of perspective. We're going to talk about all these amazing tools in the transform window. Before I do that, let me ask you, who is familiar, show of hands, with Salvador Dali's artwork with like the melting clocks? Who is not familiar? Somebody's not familiar. Okay, hold on. Let me do a quick search here for you guys so you know what I'm talking about. Dali melting. And then we're just going to click images. So these are like very, very famous images by the painter. And these melting clocks looking like things have melted. He just did all these melting clocks. They're all over the internet. He was a very, very famous artist in his time. So just so you know what I'm saying, how to make a clock melt over a branch. This is your point of reference. This is why I'm going to show you how to make clocks melt over a branch. Here's kind of one. So there's lots of copycats now, and we're actually going to be copycats too. So the way I do that is going to be, here's my branch, and I'm going to turn off these directions, use the transform warp tool. Now, you guys have gotten a little bit farther along where you know how to cut stuff out. So first thing, here's my clock that I'd like to melt over this branch, like Salvador Dali. So what am I going to do very first and foremost? I'm going to use my select marquee just to kind of get it set up here. Hold my shift key down. I'm going to kind of arrow it into place on my keyboard. And then I'm going to apply a mask. Perfect, okay? So here's my clock. I'm ready to melt it. Now, in previous versions of Photoshop, you would not be able to do so much warping and distortion with a mask. Now, in 2018, the Photoshop warping effects, it's not going to get affected by your mask. So this is great news. So I'm going to have this layer selected, and I'm going to make sure that I'm on my image layer. If you guys have noticed some issues with your masks, this little box, again, I'm selecting the photo area. If I select this, I'm on the mask, and it will apply the filter to the mask. I want to make sure I see that little outline around my photo on that part of the layer. So now I'm ready to go. These are beautiful, wonderful effects that we've sort of talked about scale and rotate already. If you wanted to scale your image, you would just kind of squish it like so. If you wanted to rotate it, you would grab the handles and such. And then you've got these skew and distortions. So skew is going to kind of skew our image any which way like so. I'm going to hit escape, edit transform. And then I've also got perspective, which lets me kind of make stuff look like it's flat or sideways or whatever. Some of them are kind of messed up when I do that. But here, this perspective will kind of give you a little bit more, make it more like a pancake. And I hit OK. So that the perspective filter is very useful. It's more of a transform than a filter. But the one that I really care about, this is one of my favorite filters here, is this warp. Now, warp is going to seem a little bit like liquify to you, but it's not entirely accurate. So warp's going to let me like literally just grab this image and see how I'm making it look like it's in 3D space? Isn't that kind of cool? Let's see. Oh, I have to hit escape. Hold on. Before I do that, I'm going to make a couple copies. Hold on. Window, history. Okay, here's my clock, my melted clock. I'm going to make a couple duplicates. That way I can throw a couple of these filters on, or transforms. So we'll just kind of move these clocks all over the place. Now I'm back to where I was. Here we are. Edit, transform, warp. And then what that's going to do is give me this grid. And I can kind of control the image. It's sort of like Illustrator's gradient mesh tool by grabbing each corner of my grid. And I can basically just move it around, or I can grab the handles. And depending on what I'm going for, I might grab different things. So what was I doing? I was trying to look like this clock melted in the desert over top a branch like Salvador Dali, the artist, right? So I'm kind of making a flat pancake, and then we'll just kind of go. It doesn't look much like a clock, but I guess that's what we're going for. And when I'm done, I can just hit the return key, and it will apply it. So now I've got this weird warped looking clock / pancake. That's not one of the best ones. Let's try again. So we'll put this one over here. And then, okay, edit, transform, warp. What should I try to do here? So I was trying to like make it look like it melted over the branch. And now it looks like a weird melted carpet. So you can play with this. You can get great results, but you have to practice. Sometimes it does funny things. So let's just kind of, and you can also use this, not as well for reflections, but it's the same type of control. I'm gonna hit the OK. Now, I've got a problem here with my branch. This is under it instead of over it. So let's grab this and put it on top of the branch. And I still have a problem with the branch realistically here. So what I need to do is go into my lovely mask tool and just grab a paintbrush here and make my brush nice and small, kind of hard. There we go. And then I need that optical illusion. Can I get it? Sorta. Actually, I think that my little pancake thing needs to be rewarped. Edit, transform, warp. Let's drag it down a little bit and drag it up. There we go. Wow, it still doesn't really look exactly like I want it to, but hit OK. Then going back to my mask, I'm going for optical illusions here. It's a little better. It still needs some work over here on the edge. There we go. Make it look like that. It's closer. It's not Salvador Dali level. It's not ideal, but it's getting closer. Now, if I was to jump back and look at his work, he's got this weird melting thing really, really down, like this. So I could go in here and try to add some liquefies and some other stuff. Now this one is a little better. So this is just full on flopping over a tree. So let's try to do that one. Let me go back here. Here's my next one, flopping over a tree here. Edit, transform.
Does it have eyes?
Huh?
It has eyes.
No, those are where you want.
Oh, you're seeing eyes in the clock. Okay, that means our mission has accomplished. Okay. I think that was a forward. Anyway, so you get the idea. You kind of have to mess with this and get it to go a certain way. I'm just gonna click. Oh, you know what? I'll make it go through the picture frame. That'll work better. Escape if you don't like what you're doing. I'm going to bring this picture frame down here, and that will help a little bit. I'm going to make it look like it's a distorted picture frame. So let's bring the picture frame up here. So those other tools I was talking about, perspective, are really fun. So edit, transform, perspective, and then I've got this ability to kind of make this look like it's kind of the floor of the image. Can kind of go a little crazy with this project. So now I've got this kind of floating frame. We don't need liquid right now, so we'll just kind of make this floating in the desert. We'll stick our lion way over here in the corner. We don't need him. Go away. And back to this flopping clock here. So we're gonna bring the clock on top of the picture frame, and then let's see if we can make it just look like it's bent over one of those picture frames. Edit, transform, warp, and that's easier said than done. Let's see. Kind of just, that's better. It's kind of getting hidden away by the other. See how it's kind of going away? So that kind of works a little bit. I'm not Salvador Dali, but you guys kind of get the idea, right? Let's see, this here. Oh, something's off. Not exactly what I was going for. I'm gonna have an easier time doing it on the side. I'm gonna hit escape, edit, transform, warp. We'll make it look like it's a sideways pancake flopped over the edge. Hit return, and then I'm gonna put it over here. I'm gonna transform it, edit, transform, scale. So kind of using a combination of these transform warps. I've got the ability, and then I can still go back right now. I'm in free transform and just kind of stretch it out and make it look like it's. Now, here's where the other stuff comes in. Edit, transform, skew, and distort lets me have control from the corners. So I can still sort of skew stuff, even if my warping didn't go exactly as planned. And then I can go back and rewarp. So you can kind of pile these effects on top of one another. So now, edit, transform, warp. Let's kind of get this a little more floppy here. I think it's getting closer. Now, if I wanted to, I could also, at this point, let's select this guy again, and we can go right back into liquefy and finish it off, that weird distortion effect that we're going for if we're trying to emulate Salvador Dali. And I'm using the same smudge tool that I would have used to alter a body, and I'm kind of just going around with the brush and kind of making it look just like this distorted weird clock that melted in the desert. So I'm going to click OK. And now I'm getting a little closer to distorted stuff. I might want to play with my masking here and make it look like stuff went through if I want to be really thorough here. So I'm just going to kind of make it look like that's behind that. And then I start getting a little more of the optical illusion. You guys get the idea. So this file has some other fun stuff in here. There's a planet you can mess with. There's that lion, that same lion is here again. Actually, I could make a pool up here kind of underneath my picture frame if I want to. And then you can, again, use these transform distortions for this. I'm going to kind of grab the edge of that, and then, whoops, I have to zoom out a little bit. Command minus. Can kind of grab the edge of this and put it under the picture frame. I'm grabbing the edge of that. So these distortions are incredibly handy tools, and they're very, very versatile for a number of different things. So now I've kind of got this swimming pool. The only thing that's not working is the part of the pool where it looks like the clock is dunking in the pool. So I might need to put this clock on top to get a finished look here. Or no, it's the mask. So I have to go back and kind of edit the mask. Anyway, you guys get the idea. So go ahead right now, turn your computers on, and grab this file and see if you can't have your own hand at trying to get some of these warps completed.